Yo, yo, yo. Let's give that clap. All right. Welcome to the Hoops Rehab Show. A big night in Lakers land. We got your host, Gameinjurydoc, aka the Dr. Evan Jeffries. And on my right, Eric B. Mack. How you
What's up,
doing tonight,
y'all?
Eric?
Doing pretty good, pretty good. Obviously, a little better now with a Lakers victory, evening up the series. So on to Minneapolis we go.
Yeah, man. What a game to start off that game too, and just the intensity of it. You felt like this was actually a playoff game. Before we get started, I'll let you guys know you can follow us on all our handles are at Gameinjurydoc on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and Eric B. Mack at the same. And then follow our Hoops Rehab Show page on YouTube. And we are also putting these out as a podcast the following morning on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So if you can share, follow, download, like, we appreciate all the feedback so far, and we want to continue doing this thing. So let's get it cracking.
Yes, sir. So I'd like to give you some stats. So heading into the night, I kind of knew two things. So for an NBA playoff series, so if a team was down 0-2, whether if it was home or road, they've come back to win the series 34 out of 459 times. So you obviously feel like, all right, 34 times is a good chunk, but that's actually 7% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you lose your two home games, which would have been the case, obviously, if Lakers lost tonight, it would have been there was only 6 out of 459, so less than a percent chance of coming back. So tonight's game was
Yeah,
obviously super important.
huge.
It's crazy. I couldn't. Maybe it was just more of the nerves or what have you. But Lakers were obviously for the majority of the game were up double digits. I believe Minnesota's only lead was 2-0 just to start the game, and so for the Lakers to be up double digits about 38 to 40 minutes of the game, it never
Yep.
quite felt like it because I was just nervous. It felt like Minnesota was just ready to go on a run, and they'd get it down to 9 or 10. And Lakers would kind of have a stop or two. Luka would
Yep.
ISO Gobert, and that lead would jump up back up to 15, 16. So that was kind of important. I think it's important that they built that lead because when Minnesota made their run, you look up and you're still up 10, 11 points, right? It probably doesn't feel good if you're up 20 and then all of a sudden it's 10 or 11, but in reality, it's still a decent place to be. So it was ugly for sure. Wasn't pretty, but obviously we'll take any win we can get in the postseason.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, to me, when I was watching this, I was like, the intensity has
Oh yeah.
skyrocketed in this
Oh yeah.
game. You could just tell on LeBron's face. He was hustling on defense. Every possession meant something. You can see it in Luka. You can see it in AR. I would say you can see it in Jackson Hayes, but I didn't really see him out there. And we can get to
Yeah.
that
I
in a
want
little
to
bit.
I want to touch on that for
Um,
sure.
but something that I stated like going into the series was that Dorian Finney-Smith was going to have to play at least 30 minutes a game. He played 39 minutes tonight,
Yep.
right? He was going to be the key to this series because he's going to have to bring that defensive energy on pretty much guarding everybody. I mean, he guards Ant a lot, but he also guards Randall. He guards Gobert. He guards pretty much everybody on the perimeter. So I want to give him his shout out, his flowers. He only had 7 points, but that's fine because everything else he does on the floor is to disrupt the other team. And you can tell that by the Lakers only giving up 85 points tonight. So huge game by DFS. And you knew you were going to need that. I mean, Jackson Hayes played 9 minutes tonight. So um, he's obviously getting a little bit phased out of this game, this series.
Jeez.
It's crazy because like I was like, tonight, Minnesota didn't look that big. Game one, they looked huge, right? So I think the Lakers made one of the biggest adjustments they made is they started swarming, like how you were talking about how Lakers do a good job of just like swarming people and and just bringing that defensive intensity. And when they're doing that, the other team doesn't look as big. It doesn't look as dominant when they're doubling and also just getting to the ball. Like Gabe Vincent in the first half minutes were just amazing, right? So I think if we can keep that up, this series will be leaning towards LA pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. Like paying attention if you guys, watch next game, DFS, like these may not fill up the stat sheet, but like those are like 39 hard-nosed minutes. And
Oh yeah,
obviously like he did hit a big three, kind of a key point in the game. And obviously the more we can get from him is definitely just gravy. And so yeah, very, very, very gritty. Um, Jackson Hayes, like I noticed like he went out of the second half at like the 10-13 mark. I was like, damn,
ten
they got him out
thirteen.
there with the quickness, yeah.
Yeah,
And I don't know if it's
yeah,
like he because like Gobert's there, they obviously have some athleticism with McDaniels. That lob is really like not there. And
yeah.
so when that's not there, that's like what really he does for us. And he's obviously, hey, look, like for I mean, what we thought he was and what he's been providing the second half of the year, it's been tremendous. But obviously, like in a playoff series when they can really like key in on one person, um, he's definitely kind of the odd man out. I anticipate he's still going to start, right? He's not going to play big minutes, but I was like, when I saw that, I was like, damn, that was like the quickest like hook I've ever seen. Almost like pulling out somebody like 10 something into the third quarter. And but yeah, I mean, like you said, 85 points given up, super intense game. Obviously, Luka was pretty dominant, especially in the first half.
Yep.
And so yeah, like another thing too, I think the foul trouble for the Minnesota Timberwolves obviously really changed the complexion of the game. Dante DiVincenzo just like quick 3-4 fouls, so he really couldn't make a difference. And then Naz Reid as well. He missed. He pretty much went out early in the second quarter with 3 fouls and wasn't in the rest of the half. So um, obviously like things like that are a big difference maker. You got to attack those kind of guys. Like they're going to be like all over your ass like DiVincenzo is, but if you go at
Yep.
him, make him pick up that cheap foul, get him out of the game, and I mean that's really what happened, at least in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, game one, I think I saw a stat that Lakers gave up the most open jumpers, like either ever in a playoff series or something in a game one.
it
But
was
just
it
like
was high up there at least, yeah.
it was somewhere way up there. But like
Yeah,
tonight, they
that
closed
corner
off
three.
space. Yeah, they pretty much were covering all those people every possession, right? There was somebody on somebody every time somebody had the ball, right? Which is makes the hell of a difference in a series. Game one felt like a regular season game. Game two felt like a playoff game. And when you look at Minnesota, what they did game one, right? Jane McDaniels, 25 points. Tonight, he had 8,
8,
right?
yeah.
Naz Reid had 20, right? Tonight, he had 9. And Dante not having anything, he had 4 points. So if you can keep the other guys, which I talked about last time, from scoring and having these big games, then more than likely all they really have is Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle's going to get a little bit, but I'm
Yeah,
not
he's
too
been
concerned about Julius Randle's.
doing pretty well
Um,
though.
he did tonight, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, if Julius Randle's getting 30, I'm okay with that,
Yeah, I get what you're
right?
saying.
As long
Yep.
as
Yep.
everybody else is not going off. So Lakers did a good job of just game planning that, and I think overall, like they were able to bring Gobert out in space. I know AR had a couple ISOs on him. Luka had some ISOs on him. AR was able to get to the basket pretty easy and go up with his right hand and get a nice layup in the third and fourth quarter. So uh, they just got to continue to exploit the matchups that they have. Even though we are not big at all, we
Yep.
are we have a lineup that runs from 6'5" to 6'9", 6'10" ish, and they're all athletic and all long, right? So if we can continue trying to bring those guys and keeping the pace up with that, I think we got a good chance in this series here.
Absolutely. Just 2 points that I was thinking about. So I know you mentioned last game something that you saw that you didn't like was the
Yeah.
assist
Yeah,
totals between
totally.
obviously the big three. So Austin Reeves, Luka, and LeBron, and so they had a total of seven. And
Yep.
so a lot better tonight. Looks like just adding it up, it looks like 21. So 9 assists for Luka,
Yeah.
five for Austin, and then seven for LeBron. So
Yeah.
obviously, um, that was a key. That was key, especially first half. I
Yeah.
know it was just a dogfight in the second half, and I think both teams were just probably a little bit tired because of the intensity of like the first,
Hmm.
quarter or first 2 quarters and a half, where things
Yeah.
kind of slowed down a bit. But I think that was something I was paying attention to. I think like 6 minutes in, they were already combined like 6 assists. So I think they
Yeah.
probably, the message you sent, I think they probably realized too. And
Yeah.
then my second point around like 3 pointers, how I just mentioned the sometimes it seems like the style of defense the Lakers are playing is kind of giving up that three ball. But yeah, what I failed to mention was that they were 9 for 12 from that corner three, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
And that is like what you have to shut down. If you're gonna give up the three
Yeah.
ball, like just because you have to give up something, you cannot give up a corner three to Naz Reid, for example, because he's just gonna drill that all day long. And so
Yeah.
um obviously the 3 point shooting on both sides was like real ugly. So Minnesota, they hit 21 in game one, they hit five today. So you got to
Yep.
figure it's going to be more right in the middle than the two games we've seen, right? They're not as bad as tonight from beyond the arc, but they're also not consistently as good as they were game one. And then Lakers got to shoot better too. I mean, they were 6 for 29 from three. So
Yep.
they definitely left a lot out there, which was like, I guess, a good sign for the Lakers. I mean, I'm sure Minnesota has to feel decent too, right? They went to LA and took one, but Lakers have to feel good about kind of how this game turned out tonight. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was one thing I was going to mention. Like, if we're looking at any struggles the Lakers had tonight, it was definitely in the 3 point range.
Yep.
They went 6 for 29, so that's 20%.
Yeah.
Now, moving forward, that would not be a good game by any means standard. Probably going into Minnesota for 2 games, if we shot 20% from three, it probably wouldn't equate to these type of win that we had tonight. So, are you concerned with their shooting, at least the 3 point shooting in this game, or is just more? Would you would you put it as the game was just one of those defensive muck it up games?
I'd say a combination of both. Like I see Austin Reeves over 6 from three, and so that kind of stands out. And I think if you have a 20% shooting night on the road in Minnesota, they're gonna probably shoot pretty well out there
Hmm.
Friday and perhaps Sunday. And so you just got to hit those open shots. So I mean, I know it's a combination of both. It was definitely a gritty
Yep.
game, but there was some that were just like, oh, come on, like just they could have just put like a complete dagger in there, and they would
Yeah.
just miss it. And AR, like he was real gritty tonight. Played 43 minutes, 16 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. But his outside shot is a little off right now.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. Like coming back because I think we'll need that, especially to try to get a game on Fridays. So, what about you? I mean, are you? I mean, Lakers are not a prolific 3 point shooting team in general, but is there any concern
No.
in terms of that?
Yeah. I mean, I, I think I'm more concerned with the amount of assists that the three playmakers have. So, like, I would even go on the limb if those three playmakers have 20 plus assists, we should win the game, right? So that should be like a pretty solid game, right? We're getting 8 to 9 out of Luka, 8 to 9 out of LeBron, and 5 to 6 out of AR, right? And that typically means that they're spreading the ball, they're making the plays that they need to make. Now, when you get into Minnesota and the crowd's going crazy against
Oh,
you, you definitely want to quiet the crowd by making your three. So I would want them to do that, obviously. I think what saved them tonight is they went 20 for 20 from the free throw line. I
yep.
mean, I can't think of the last time they've gone 100% in a playoff game. I would have to kind of look up that stat to see if they've
Yeah.
done that before. I mean, I don't know if they even gone a perfect game from the free throw line, but that was
Game.
pretty remarkable. So that pretty much saved them as far as not shooting so well from the outside.
Oh yeah, I was looking at that. They obviously Minnesota went like I was sorry. I was thinking, oh, I wonder if Lakers kind of got the whistle, but they pretty much. I mean, Minnesota shot 25 free throws and Lakers shot
Yep.
20, so they both made 20. And I want to say I'm gonna look really quick here. Yeah, it's been a while, but I kind of recall a game against Golden State a couple years ago.
Mm.
I believe it was game 4 where it was like, wow, they like same kind of thing where they basically shot I think I got it here. Yeah, 20 for 20 as well. That's crazy.
No way. Okay, so you
Yeah.
remember that one? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, game 4 against Golden State 2 years ago when they won
Okay.
and they went
Oh
up
yeah, in
three
the
one.
second round, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was like I don't know why it stuck out to me. I remember that game, and it's like it's just rare, right? I mean, we there's usually a couple misses, I mean, especially with the Lakers. I feel like sometimes they have some misses, but
Yeah.
yeah, that was key. The one thing is to get to the line, the other thing's to make all of them. So
For sure.
yeah, that obviously, I mean, in a 9 point ball game, you miss a couple of those, it definitely could start to get tight. So.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What do you think all around? Obviously, the stats are not going to be like when you have a 94 to 85 game, like like nothing is going to crazy stand out. Other than, I mean, Luka. I mean, at the end of the day, the guy had 31, 9, and 12, and so
Yeah.
he was really controlling the pace. Obviously, getting Rudy on him pretty much all the time. He'd kind of go to work on him. Sometimes he
Yeah.
would score. Honestly, though, there was a few times where like I feel like he'd get to the lane and he'd have like a little 4 or 5 foot bunny he could shoot, but he'd pass it off for
Pass
a
it off.
three
Yeah.
pointer. So
Yeah.
I would like him just to take that shot. Like I know you got the open corner three. I noticed that about 3 or 4 times where I'm like,
Yeah.
dang it, Luca. Just I mean, you can't complain about the guy. He gets what he wants, but I think he almost should even be a little bit more aggressive when he gets in there. So
Yeah.
that's
I
something that I saw.
I think his nature is always to be a pass first guy. Like
Yeah,
LeBron's a pass first guy, right?
absolutely.
So, what was the major complaint on LeBron before he kind of won the championship? Is he never takes the last shot, or he
Yeah,
always is
yeah,
passing? He's always making
always.
what they call the right play, right? He would always say that's the right basketball move. So I think that's more Luka's nature to make the right basketball move. So I'm okay with him kind of passing up some of that because the alternative is more game one, right? Where he had 37 points and 1 point and one assist.
Yeah.
So the alternative, him taking more shots and not really looking for his teammates. So I would rather have a pass first Luka because I know I'm still going to get 25 to 35 points out of Luka. He's just bound to have that. But if he's getting his teammates involved, I think that's the most important thing he can do for the Lakers moving forward. And I think that's just what separates this Lakers squad from the last 3 4 years Lakers squad, right? Be able to have that additional playmaker that can either take over a game or can get his guys going.
Yeah, no, definitely a good point. And that's his, like you said, it's in his nature. And it's just sometimes, like, hopefully, I'm sure he'll probably study the film and say, you know what, sometimes I got to
Yeah,
just go up with that shot. And so,
yeah,
and then also, like you're saying, the difference between the Laker teams from like the years past or last few years, um, we, I feel like we're able to see a little bit more of aggressive LeBron, like on the defensive
yeah,
end, because he
yeah.
doesn't have to like carry the load offensively.
Hmm.
So yeah, he did play obviously 40 minutes of just like hard ass like NBA playoff basketball. He
Yeah,
did shoot 19 shots, so it's not like he wasn't putting it up. But there's definitely like times in the game where yeah, I don't want to say he can like he's an afterthought out there, but he just doesn't have to just every possession, whether if it's offense or defense, be like the main guy. And so I
yeah.
mean we knew that when we got Luca, right? That was like one of the big things about getting him is that
Hmm.
times like this that we can have LeBron just be the beast that he potentially can be on the defensive end.
100%.
So he was
Yeah,
he was all over the place. I mean, he picked the
yeah,
spots, 21 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists as well.
yep.
Like I said, the 40 minutes, and I think having that again, that extra day going into game 3 is gonna help him out for Friday at least.
Yeah, great points with that because like the energy from LeBron was so contagious tonight, where you can
Absolutely.
just tell from the jump that he was ready to go. And I don't know if you saw his did you watch any of his podcasts? The recent one with Steve Nash.
I parts of it. Yeah, I saw parts of
Yeah,
it.
he was talking about how game ones are always a feeler game, and like
Yeah. Oh yeah, I saw that.
typically LeBron in game ones, they just don't go that well. Like, I mean, yeah, they've won some, lost some, all that stuff, but typically it's like you said, it's more of a feel game, and then the game two is where the intensity comes, and then that's where they kind of feel out a team and are ready to play for that team. So I think he made a point tonight, right? Like we were questioning after game one, is he tired? Is he older? Is the groin bothering him? Obviously, he put all that aside and he was ready to play and kind of bring that intensity. And I think Luka has pretty much unlocked all that intensity because now he doesn't have to do as much on an offensive standpoint. So he can sit back and get 18, get 22, and it doesn't really matter, right? Because Luka's going to get you 28 to 35 most nights.
Yep, yep. I think that's you're gonna the stat line, tonight, maybe the other night, and as far as like points go, like that 19, 20 to low
Yeah,
20s, it's probably going to be the mark. Obviously, we hope during this playoff run, there's a couple of games. I'm sure that he's probably going to have to be LeBron, right? It
hmm,
just works out that way. It's every series is long, and it's his own entity, as we've mentioned many times, and so.
for sure.
There probably will be, a game that he's going to have to kind of lead the way, but it's nice to have a running mate. And I definitely look for, Austin to, I know he's battling out there. He's probably some of these guys he's facing are just so damn scrappy, and
Yep.
so I hope he can get his shot back because we'll definitely need him into game three. Because as I mentioned, Minnesota's probably feeling pretty decent too. I saw Julius Randle, clapping, at the end of the game. They probably
Yep.
were like, "Hey, we came to get one, we got one." I was saying earlier, I was like, "Okay, it looks like they were kind of satisfied with one the way they came out, but
Yep.
they definitely battled back." And so, yeah, man, it's gonna be super super tough to get
Yeah. I mean,
Friday's game.
they did what they're supposed to do, right? Split the series on the road as a road team.
Yep,
So
yep.
that's what you want. What do you think Minnesota has to do in game three to make any adjustments for what the Lakers did in game two?
Well, probably not pick up the, cheap fouls, right? Be
Yep.
aggressive, like full court, but then also be smart.
Yep.
DiVincenzo and Nas and Reed are just really big. They don't start, obviously, but they are
Yep.
what really gave them a lead on Saturday night. I mean, if you remember, the Lakers actually started off hot the first quarter, kind of like tonight, with like a 10-point lead,
Yep.
right? And when they were up by 10, I was like, okay, well, obviously it's good, but we know what happened the other night. So I
Yeah.
think that first, obviously, I think like maybe speed up the game to get some of their wing shooters like a little bit more of an open shot. I thought it was like a very like half court, grind it out kind of game, which I didn't even know that really served the Lakers that well, but the way
Yeah.
they've kind of been defending it actually has. So I would say probably adjustments around getting those like corner threes obviously is going to be key. And then just I think like Ant, I mean, I don't know if it's in his nature to, really be a
Hmm.
playmaker. I mean, he had zero
Yeah.
assists tonight. I think that's like for the Laker from a Lakers standpoint, him getting zero assists, that's like amazing, right? We got to just make him a
Yeah.
scorer. And believe me, he can score. He can freaking kill you. But I think we talked about it Saturdays. I'd rather have the Ant show versus everyone else. So kind of to
Yep.
circle back on your question, I think Minnesota's got to get back to kind of like a team basketball instead of just like Ant just drive in and
Yeah.
obviously playing ISO ball. So I'm sure there's
Yeah.
some things they're gonna check on film and take it from there. What about
Yeah.
yourself?
Yeah. They had a similar game to the Lakers in game one where they had 14 assists total, right? So if Ant's not getting any assists. I mean,
Yeah.
look at their starting lineup. The only person that had more than one assist was Julius Randle. I think what
Yeah. It's
stands out
crazy.
the most to me is Mike Conley is such a mismatch in this series for who he has to guard on the Lakers starting lineup. Like
Yeah.
there's just nobody he can really be on that's not a mismatch. So if you put him on Luka, I mean Luka would just annihilate him.
Mhm.
You're not going to put him on AR. He's a little too quick for him, right? He's too shifty. And then a lot of times they put him on Rui, and Rui's just too big for him. However, Rui will sit in the corner a little bit more, so they can get away with it. But if Mike Conley is bringing you 0 points
Yep.
in the game, 0 for 5, he got you 1 assist, right, and 6 rebounds. That's not really getting much for you. So I think if I'm Chris Finch, I would look at tinkering that lineup a little bit. I don't know whether or not that's starting a Dante DiVincenzo like in the lineup and just get him out there to get the most minutes out of him, and then you're
Yeah.
bringing Conley in when the Lakers kind of make adjustments to their lineup, so you can see if you can find the right match and mismatch for him. Kind of when Lakers bring in Goodwin or they bring in some other
Gabe
guys that,
Gabe Vincent or
um,
something.
get,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So like if he's matching up against Gabe, I think that's a better matchup for him.
Hmm.
Him against the Lakers starting five is just not an ideal matchup. And I kind of saw that in game one where I was like looking at him like, dude, Lakers should take advantage of Rui on Conley. Like, how are we not taking advantage of that?
Yeah.
So I think the Lakers understand that pretty well and are taking advantage at least in game two. And if I'm Minnesota, that's my biggest adjustment that I'm making. I'm probably, to be honest, I would have Dante in the starting lineup.
Start.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good call. I mean, and obviously we'll see what Chris Finch and the Wolves do. I mean, they're
Yeah.
still very much in the series. Maybe it's something they do when they hopefully will potentially be down in the series. We'll see if that
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, sometimes you don't want to wait for that. And so I'm
Mhm.
sure they're taking a long look, and I'm sure they see the production from the offensive side and then the mismatch on the defensive side. Yeah, I'm trying to think
Yeah.
like because the Lakers have had a quick start, so obviously that's been the common trend,
Mhm.
which we kind of all thought maybe it would be the opposite, right? But
Yep.
Lakers have had those fast starts, and partly I think because of that mismatch. It doesn't necessarily mean Rui's been the one leading the way, but I think
Yep.
because of that matchup, it's kind of helping the other matchups. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, either a quick hook. Obviously, they have a lot of respect for for Conley, and he's obviously a gritty player, so I'm sure he'll get his minutes. But yeah, I mean, I could see something like that, and as long as DiVincenzo, I don't think he's typically has a fouling problem, but as long as he
Yeah.
stays in the game, I mean, he causes fits, he can hit the three ball, he's young, I mean, he was really, really, really good for the Knicks last year. He was great for the Warriors the year before. So like that's what I said earlier. The times that he was like off the floor, like as far as like from a Lakers perspective, like we'll take it.
Yeah.
So I can see
Yep.
something like that. If Lakers win Game 3, maybe they
For
go to that
sure.
in 4, or they may just do it right off the bat.
Yep.
Collins a
Uh,
professional, so I'm sure he would understand it too. And so
Totally. Yeah. I mean,
he's
he's in his
there.
what 17th, 18th year.
I think it's 17, 18. Yeah.
So he is getting up there with as far as his age and things like that.
Yep.
I
Yep.
did before we kind of move on to the next kind of something happened today segment.
That's right.
Did you see what JJ Redick did in the third quarter?
I saw when he got like pissed off.
Oh yeah, and he called
I
a
saw.
timeout.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. I
He
saw
basically
Twitter
called.
world was talking about.
If you guys saw the play, he was extremely frustrated with his team. Called a timeout and said
Yeah.
basically, "What the f is going on? Jesus effing Christ!" And what the f are you guys doing out there? That's when I knew we were going to win the game. You got a
Yeah.
head coach calling out AR, Luka, LeBron, like he's yelling
Darvin
at everybody on there.
Darvin Ham. I got my hands in my pockets. Darvin Ham.
Hand, what was his name? Hand pocket ham. Just sitting there, and then
You can't.
Darvin Ham would get his clipboard out and write some, erase it, write some, erase it. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
JJ Redick is a real coach,
Yep.
and my biggest thing, and this is what we talked about last time, was I had confidence that he would make the necessary adjustments in game two. I mean, to me, he's got a lot of Pat Riley in him, the fieriness of how he goes about every game, but also just in general of his ability to game plan for each game, right? And he doesn't look like he sleeps at all.
No,
And he seems like a
not at
person
all.
that like he watches film constantly. And you can tell by the way he went out there and he has full command of that roster. And everybody knows who runs that ship.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I want to give JJ some credit because like to me that's where my confidence was, and that's why my panic meter was at a 2 last game because I knew he would kind of come out with this.
Oh yeah, I mean, in the ebbs and flows of a game, especially a playoff game, there's going to be runs, and there could be times where your team just needs like some sort of like kick in the ass, right? And he definitely provided
Yeah,
that. Wolves had made their run in the third. There was a couple miscommunications on defense, a couple, couple sloppy plays on offense, and they needed that timeout. They needed the kind of him to be a little bit vocal, and yeah, I mean, right after that, I think they went on that 8-0 run or something like that,
yep, yep,
coming off the timeout. So it was crucial. And so yeah, I mean it's good to have him. I know he's a rookie coach, but it's good to have him
yep.
on our side for this.